From your local election headquarters, this is Big Country Politics on KTAB.
All right, welcome back to Big Country Politics, this special edition of Big Country Politics. We are concentrating on human trafficking right here in the Big Country. We were gut punched last week by a news conference that the chief had, and they were trying to identify 15 men who were part of a human trafficking investigation. And just to recap for our audience who are maybe just be joining us, a woman was flown in from China, put up in a hotel room, advertised on the dark web. People here in Abilene found her and actually paid for her services. Police put out a photo lineup of people that they wanted to identify, and Abilene came together and identified these men, and now police are searching for those guys, talking to those guys. But this is just an example of one case of human trafficking here in the Big Country, right here in Abilene, actually. And now we're learning about the most vulnerable people who could be victims of human trafficking.
Yes, the street homeless and street youth, the runaway kiddos, they're the most vulnerable, and I'll kind of tell you how that happens. As we talked earlier, the human traffickers kind of think of their stock of victims as a commodity. Now, of course, you want a healthy, strong, reusable, refillable commodity.
Wow.
You don't have a bigger population than runaway and homeless youth, and they're very, very vulnerable. Now, where do the youth come from? What we don't realize is a system of care to protect these kids is what is supplying the traffickers. Most of the runaway and homeless street youth across America are failed system kids. They're kids that something significant has happened to, or they've been abandoned, and they've been put into our system of care for protection, be it emergency shelters, long-term shelter placements, foster care, therapeutic foster care. All these systems designed to protect these children are underfunded, understaffed, and have a lot of unsuccessful placements. Those are the kids primarily that live on the street. They've failed in a family placement of their own, they're biological. They don't trust adults. A system designed to care for them is underfunded. They're on the streets. We produce a harvest for traffickers. And it's shocking. And America thinks something this important is funded, and it's not. We prioritize the wrong things. It's not children.
During that news conference, they talked about homeless kids in the Abilene Independent School District and said, I mean, this surprised me, and I don't know how a human trafficker would find this out, but a kid who becomes homeless is contacted, they said in the news conference, within 48 hours of becoming homeless by a human trafficker.
That is typical national statistics. In Abilene, we have about 1,000 identified homeless youth. About a third of those, on the national average, are contacted by traffickers. Now, one thing we need to all understand, a little caveat to that, is you can be homeless and still have protective adults in your life. They live in their cars, they couch surf, live in different people's homes, they camp, but they have a responsible adult. It's primarily the homeless youth that are unsupervised, even if they're homeless with their parents. But think about it, if their parents are strung out on drugs, if their parents are, although homeless, are trying to work and not around, it's those unsupervised homeless youth that are an easy target. How do they find out about it? They have very attractive apps that kids get on.
Technology.
Make quick money. That's why part of human trafficking involves fraud. You know, come do this job and you'll make some money for yourself or your family.
Okay.
It's a bait and switch. They get there, they're trapped, they can't get out. Something else that will surprise you is the traffickers supply their human commodity line They don't mind if their young female victims become pregnant, because what they do is they make them work anyway. They have those babies.
Wow.
Then they have an anchor. You go work, we'll keep your baby. You don't work, you don't have your baby.
That's another way of keeping them
Yeah,
working.
it's a psychological prison and fear, a reality. It's unbelievable, and it happens right here.
Unreal. Okay, it just surprised me. I'm sorry. We're going to be back with Stephanie Rocha. She's sitting right over there. She is with Beyond Human Trafficking. Is that right? Beyond Trafficking. And so we're going to talk to her next, and we're going to get into more human trafficking here on Big Country Politics.